So welcome to episode 108. I believe it's 108 of Teh Tarik with Walid, and with me a very special guest, a sitting PAP MP, Mr. Zhulkarnain Rahim, and he came all the way from the west, journey to the east. But of course, you're familiar with the east, right? Yes. So thank you so much for being here. I think a lot of people want to talk about what happened yesterday, but we'll hold that for a while. But maybe just brief thoughts about the EBRC. Any thoughts on how you guys are coping with it? Any?
I think I mean, we expect boundary changes. And first of all, thank you for arranging this. Walid wanted me on for how many years?
Yes.
How many years?
5 years.
I already told him I'm a backbencher. Might as well you get the ministers and all that. So now he very naughty. Towards the end of the term, he cannot get anybody. He ask me lah. Correct. No? So, but thanks.
Ministers are still welcome.
The EBRC expected some changes. The Tengah, especially because I serve in Choa Chu Kang, and that's where my father lives, my family lives as well. So we see a lot of new BTOs. So Tengah is like a rock that actually just came from the sky. So there will be ripple effects around. So I fully expect there's some boundary changes. So Choa Chu Kang, for us, we have lost Jumblatt. Now it's become an SMC. And now we have parts of Tengah that is inside GRC, and also parts of Hong Kong North previously. And then the peripheral boundary changes and all that. All in all, I think it's good that we have increased the number of seats. 93 to 97, which means hopefully more diverse views, more speeches being made, more PQs being asked, so that when we're parliamentarians, we look at each other's PQs file, then we can add on to it in terms of SQs and all that.
Right.
And then this
so
is
feed
not
off each other.
correct, and it's not just not counting the NCMPs, the NMPs. So all in all, I would expect the next 15th parliament term would have 108, 105.
So you're sounding like someone who's definitely running.
I'm not sure whether I'm running or running away, but that depends on whether I'm being fielded.
But I mean, obviously, you want to be fielded, right?
I've done the work. I mean, I've served the resident. I want to.
Right. So you want to continue. Okay.
I think there's more that I can contribute. But if the journey ends, the journey ends lah.
I'm sure you have had conversations about that, about the journey continuing.
I have always been in this mode that you come from the community, you have to go back to the community. So this must be in the mindset of all politicians. If you're a career politician, I suppose you want to hold on to your seat, you want to be in power, but that shouldn't be the case. It should be about handing over. And that's why I see that good that we have fresh boundaries, hopefully fresh faces. You've seen them on all party side. And I hope we can have a more diverse slate.
Okay. Right. Thank you. And I think you alluded to you did come from the grassroots, from the Malay grassroots especially, and I have some questions about that later on. Let's begin with that. Actually, you speak. Obviously, you're not just a Malay MP, right? You are an MP, and you serve. Most of your residents are actually not Malays, right?
That's true.
So most of them are not Malays, but because you are also a Malay, you are also a Muslim, so you are also a Malay and Muslim MP. So, having spoken to people over the past 5 years, what are the issues do you think that will matter to them most in this coming election?
Generally speaking, for everybody, I think obviously cost of living is one of them. It's cliche, but people, although you mentioned cost of living, everyone experience it in a different way. For instance, either healthcare costs, caregiver costs, educational, or maybe job opportunities. So different facets of pressures of cost of living. So by and large, I think that is one of the main thing for general public. I mean, if you talk about Malay Muslim community, I can divide it into a few categories. One, of course, intrinsically for the Malay Muslim community, which would be what I call future-proofing the community, the progress in the community, educational, the mosques being renewed, that kind of thing. And that's why we have WMS, Wakaf Masyarakat Singapura, MQ, and all the efforts, right? But by and large, whether you're Malay, whether you're Chinese, Indian, Eurasian, any other ethnic group, I think we face the same kind of pressures in living in Singapore. Either stress manifests into mental health issues, but of course societal issues, family issues, which actually underlying it would be, I think, economical reasons. I've been a lawyer for the past 20 years. Yeah, 20 years, 2005 call, right? So been in doing international law, arbitration disputes. So I see MNCs disputes. But in my 6-7 year of practice, I started doing pro bono, legal aid bureau. That's when I saw the bread and butter issues, the Sharia court divorces, PPOs, and then when you scrape off all these manifestation of problems, underlying it usually would be emotional distress caused by maybe anxiety over jobs, discrimination at work, maybe cost of living, maybe mortgage issues, single income family, that kind. So I think currently with what's happening around the world, this is just the one thing that Singaporeans face alike.
Right. And inflation was worldwide last year, right? So but that spells back a little bit of bad news for you and the party, right? Because last year there was an anti-incumbency effect in almost every election in the world, maybe only one or two, because cost of living is a global thing, also inflation. So it's not that the government of the day is necessarily culpable, but the government of the day always has to face the consequences.
Because if you're in the hot seat, it's always being what can you do more, what have you done. And I think the question we need to ask is what it could have been if it's not for the current government. But having said that, I think we all can be very frank about it, that there can be much more that we can do. And I think that's why I refuse to accept this myth that there are battleground divisions, GRCs, or these are better.
Why is that?
Because I think every constituency is at stake.
No, you will win, right?
So last 2020, right? Vote share for PAP decreased 10%, right? So, and then if you tambah this inflation issue, tambah the geopolitical tension, the issues on the ground, and maybe some fresh ideas from the other side, then it really gives, as what you said, a disadvantage to the incumbents. So, of course, I think my party, says that they won't take things for granted, and I think that should be the right approach. Every vote matters. To me, I think, especially with the changes in the boundaries, we talk about it. So let's just say, right? So Bukit Gombak is traditionally, I think Low Yan Ling has been serving there for a very long time. So if we lose that, we have a sense of apprehension that there's a sense of uncertainty of the new estates.
Right.
Even changes in the boundary, let's say Sengkang GRC, it was a new one.
So the newer estates are the tricky ones, right? Because you don't know where they'll go. Right?
Although some of them are not real, while they are new estates, they are not really new residents. They are actually from other parts of Singapore.
Of course.
So it's actually a testament of how well Singapore does as a whole. Right? Because when they move to BTOs, then they have all these new dynamics together.
Right. Oh, okay. So you're saying that this time it will be the toughest election?
I think so. I think so. And I'm not saying that flippantly. I think we have seen. I'm a first-term parliamentarian. I do not have any points of reference before, but I must say our debates, we have gone on longer. We have asked far sharper questions. And I say this my parliamentary speech: iron sharpens iron. So what can be the good idea, a better idea? I don't care where it comes from, so long as it's a better idea for Singapore.
It seems like you're making a case for more opposition in Parliament.
So you are making the presumption. You are making the presumption that opposition equals to more new ideas.
Okay.
So I don't think that is the right premise.
All right. So it could come from the opposition, could come from PAP backbenchers,
It could come from
from
NMP,
NMPs.
correct.
Yes.
Come from the
NMPs, yes.
people as well, because
Yes.
that's where 4SG conversations come in. And I think not much credit has been given to the people who actually came out with it. I don't ask the question myself. So I actually go house visit, and then I remember my first PQ was on healthcare, and actually about some cancer drugs being fully subsidized under Medisave, and use Medisave and all that. So I actually met a particular uncle. He lives in the 4th floor in one particular block. Then he says that, look, I'm taking this drug, but it's not really fully subsidized and all that. So I raised it, and then after that, that time was Mr. Ong Ikang. So he said, look at it. About a few years down the road, then some changes happen, but it's too late for the uncle. But when I posed that question, I came back to his house. What he said to me was, his job is done. His job is done. He says that now, at least if he doesn't benefit, others can benefit. I think if Singaporeans have that mentality, whether you support incumbent or you don't, you come up with the ideas.
Right. Okay, thank you. So from what you're saying, the Malay Muslim ground, the issues are not different from other Singaporeans. It will be the same issues.
Also, those are the but there's particular issues. I think if I say education-wise, although we have doubled our graduates and we have gotten more PMATs, the issues of are they in the right sector? Where are their income ceiling? Are there any other discrimination at work? And that's why we passed the discrimination bill, anti-discrimination bill as well. I see this because sitting, in my previous time in AMP, we look at how we can maximize the potential of each and every one of our Muslim community household. And we find that 50% of our Malay Muslim women are economically inactive. So they need to, and that's for a variety of factors, because if they work, whether or not they are going to forego certain amount of opportunity cost, is it going to add on? Is it going to be worth the pay? Or is it going to take care of the kids longer? So there are other community issues that need to be resolved. I think, of course, we're going to speak about Gaza as well. I think, although I won't say that it's a Malay Muslim issue, I think it resonates with anyone who's human. But I feel that Malay Muslims have felt it because of the history.
We'll get to that. So thank you for acknowledging that. I think it's undeniable what you just said, that even though it's a humanitarian issue, it's undeniable that Muslims do have a particular affinity for that. So we'll talk about that. So in 2020, Dr. Shashi Jayakumar, the son of the former DPM, he wrote in his book, The History of the PAP, that 2020 there was something peculiar where younger voters seemed to care more about fairness, about authenticity. And I think even Minister Shanmugam, the day after election, he said that the PAP needed to do some soul searching. So since 2020 to 2025, how do you think the PAP has fared on that front? Do you hear that from young voters? Do they say, hey, you see that this is unfair, or what is it? Do you hear that, or what?
So we got to, how Prof actually define fairness is something I'm not quite sure. But if you look at what Ambassador at Large Chan Heng Chi said, right after, I think one of the IPS, she said, fairness in a way that youth perceive fairness is not an equality of arms. It's actually a kinder, gentler way of politics.
Right.
That's the kind of our youth.
I agree with that.
And I think she also said there's a youth peak in terms of a peak of interest in this. And I see that in our in my party, we have this new wing, MAB Muda, led by me and Nadia. And we did a survey of our own activists. Actually, each and every one of them wants to do something for Singapore. Youth activism is alive and well. We just need to steer it in the right direction, and then we need to nurture it. And how we as parliamentarians treat each other, I think, will shape our younger voters, our children. I said it in my maiden speech. What did I say? I said our children will look up to us or look away or something like that. Because I always have this thing in mind, right? I have 4 kids of my own. So, and my girl is about 17 and she's at that age where she reads and
Questions
questions
everything.
and question my party as well, right? So, and then she said, okay, now I understand. So I need to be able to, if you walk the talk and you say the right things, I hope you have to, I mean, it's not about the loudness of your voice, it's about the firmness of your conviction and the consistency in your action. That is advocacy. So I think youths out there, we have youth coming to us and they want to volunteer. And then by and large, in the last 5 years, across the board, I think all parties have been trying to engage youth. And I think youth can see for themselves that Singapore politics must be what they want to be, what I think would be the fairer, kinder, gentler. Although it means that that we doesn't blunt the debate or blunt the ideas, but it just means that we can agree to disagree, but we are all on the same boat.
Do you think the PAP has moved towards that, a gentler, kinder politics?
By and large, yes. Okay, again, no point of reference. I mean, I wasn't here during the, but I can, speaking from the older ones, they say that, yeah, been very quite welcoming of maybe more time given for the opposition. In fact, I'm pretty annoyed sometimes. I put up my hands. Sometimes the speaker never put up my. Okay, I moved 3 times. Okay, I had 4 seats in chambers.
Because of COVID, right?
First time of COVID. Second time I was seated with Bisa Uncle Yong Manwai. The second time was like Nadia. Now the last time I'm in front. Now when I'm in front, he can see my hand.
Right.
But he will pick
The
an MP and CMP opposition because so it's like this. Although there is a large number of PAP MPs, he will try to have one PAP MP and then opposition.
Right.
And then if LO puts out his hand, he will get it first.
He will get.
By precedent, I agree. And I feel that okay, they filed more. They filed German motions. It's not as if they filed more and we filed less. It's just that they get balloted, right? Although I feel that that's the case, I think it's fair because it means that the system allows for contrarian views to be heard, to be aired. There's nothing wrong from having a different opinion from me, from you. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't make you a less of a Singaporean. It doesn't make you less of a person. What is wrong is if you then insist that your view is the only view that is right and make others you're not receptive of things. And I feel that the responses from the front bench have been largely okay, we'll consider it, and then they will explain. So I have not seen previous and such explanations done before. Maybe it's a function of the question not being asked, or maybe now that there is a newer approach of front bench explaining policy, so that both opposition and CMP and MP, even backbenchers like me, understand.
Is this something generational in the PAP? Because politics is a contact sport. Lee Kuan Yew used to say, "We'll meet in the cul-de-sac." It's that kind of. But your language seems to be quite different. So is this a generational thing amongst your generation that maybe older folks do not share? And like every organization, there's always a tension between the old and the new. So
I don't think there's
Healthy tension.
we never thought about
Right,
such a generational gap, because if every batch, it's not as if we are younger than the 2015 batch. You know. Some of the 2023 are
Yeah.
so far already, right? So and then you know that, oh, this one the old man should become minister lah. You know, but so it's not a generational thing. It's actually you move with the electorate.
Right.
I think,
Okay.
I think you got to
That's fair.
see what our people want, and I think our people want more of what we say, fairness, kinder, gentler engagement of the issue, and then let them decide. You know, our Singaporeans are not stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
You got to lay them out the
I
facts.
agree with that.
And I mean, as an advocate, as a lawyer, I present facts. I try to advocate for a position, but at the end of the day, the judge would then have to decide. But here, the judge is the people.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we have. It's not that we have tension intergenerational sorts, but I think the electorate demands for that.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good. So I think we can see more of that, right? More kinder politics
Hopefully.
and.
But that means I'll be sitting in my seat for long.
Unless you move to the front.
No, I'm already at the
At the very front,
Oh, no,
metaphorically.
so that when they say parliament sitting, right? Parliament sitting, I didn't understand it. It's really sitting, you know. Sitting.
Sitting for a long time, right?
But I enjoy listening to some of the speeches, and the few who actually change my speech halfway, because I react to the speeches made by others. Because don't cover the same point.
Yes, exactly.
Respond to say, and then you know who will complete the interpreters?
They have to do on the spot. Okay. Thank you. So let's talk about Palestine, right? I think every guest of mine, I will ask them from whatever party, because I mean, I feel strongly about this, and I know you do as well. I really wanted to thank you first, because I think there has been no MP more relentless. I would put you and Pritam in terms of putting this out there in Parliament. So thank you so much for that. I think you have a proven track record. I think anyone who doubts me, disputes me, can just take a look. Proven track record. So no issues there. So it's just I wanted to thank you for doing that. So what is your reaction to yesterday's incident before I ask other questions? And
yesterday, you mean it didn't happen yesterday though?
Yeah, 2 days ago, right?
Yeah,
2 nights ago.
And then by some activists. I think they are associated with the Monday for Palestine solidarity. Yeah. But I think when they approach Chongpang MPS on the pretext of another issue of I'm not sure what it was. I saw the video clip. Well, I'm a bit sad that it happened. Actually, to tell you the truth, on the 23rd February, they came to my MPS.
Okay.
Yeah, but they are my residents. And I will explain that later on. But focusing on the incident that happened in Chongpang, I feel sad because I see a bunch of youths who can channel their activism in the right way. You know, back in AMP, I did a youth unconvention with the young AMP, and we covered issues of activism, how to channel the right way, so that not the loudness of your voice, but actually making sure that you make the change, effect the change that you want in the way that you will be proud of. So this youth unconvention, we had a one module is called Rebel with a Cause. So we had lawyers, we had activists, we teach youth a toolkit, right? How you can approach your MP, how you can do a petition, how you can approach the academics for advice. You know, you don't have the monopoly of ideas. You got to open up your eyes. And when I saw that happening, I thought that it's sad that it happened, and I thought that you shouldn't be taking away taking the gloss of the good work of others, you, myself included. You know, we want to talk about the issues that matter, and people can misunderstand it. Now, I want to put it this way, that actually it's not about particular race. It's actually about an issue that the group feels strongly about. So when it came to my MPS, it was a Chinese girl and a Malay girl, yeah. Young ladies. Um, I can't go into details of what they want, but we are happy to have them, because I told them one thing. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah,
to actually come.
100%.
You don't know the MP. First time you come to MPS, and then you're shaking lah, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I said, for that, I applaud
Yeah.
you. And then I took their concerns. I said I will write to that time MDDI and MFA, and they actually said thank you to me as well, because they did the research. I mean, they are
Right.
well read. They have done the thing, and I give them my list of PQs. So when I trace back, since 2021, remember there was a Ramadan where there was some violence in
Of course,
Al-Aqsa.
yeah.
So it was the first time after that I didn't stop. Every COS I spoke at MFA, MINDEF, and in fact this year's MINDEF as well. I asked Dr. Eng about his plans for hospital in Gaza. He said not yet. Periphery can.
Yeah.
So things like that. Come talk to your parliamentarians, but talk with respect and give your solutions, right? Give your alternatives, and then we can do it in a way that I think other Singaporeans will look at it and say, yeah. And I tell you, I go around Kiat Hong house visit. There was one uncle, Chinese uncle, old man about 60 plus. He said to me, and this happened last year. He said to me, "Thanks for the questions." Hey, he's not Malay, not young.
Right.
He said something. Singaporean, we want to show to the world what being Singaporean is like. And I when I went there, actually exactly last year I was there.
Oh, yes,
Palestine.
you were there,
yeah. Ramadan.
Yes, you
my
were
wife
there,
wasn't happy, but it gave me an insight,
Right.
some of the people, yeah.
Thank you, and I fully agree, and I think I do not impugn the intentions of the people there. I think I just wanted to say one thing that I've been saying going rounds, and I'm in agreement with you, and I think I disagree with Min Shan's part of Min Shan's post and others as well, that MPS is not the place where you raise these issues. I think it's okay if you're a resident, you go to your MP and you say what's on your mind. I think it's okay. But that's where I think my disagreement ends with him. So because
I put it out in my post as well. I said because of my own how I approach with my two residents, I take on their feedback.
Yeah.
So I said that if you are there to disrupt, you take time away, then that's not right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So I think that if you take the queue number and then meet your MP, and then I think that's fine. Yeah. But if you're going there to, I know they think it's civil disobedience, right? But I think that if we are using this American activism language, right? Of course, there's some things we can learn, some things we don't learn. But and they say disruption is a tool, right? But it's a tool, but it's not an end, right? What is the end?
Yeah.
I don't know what the end was yesterday. And like you talk to far more people than I do. So I have seen, we both have been looking at Palestine for many, many years, right? You longer than I. But I have seen this time around, there has been a change in public sentiment I've never seen before, right? By people outside the Muslim community. So I was quite happy with that over there. Yeah. And then I think incidents like this set us back. And again, I don't impugn intentions. I think if I were them now, I look, and I don't know them personally, but I hope to meet them, and I would tell them, just look at the public sentiment. Overwhelmingly, people, it was negative. Just take the L, apologize, and move on. That's what I would say to them.
Because the cause is more important
Exactly,
than
100%.
the cause is more important than the applause.
Right,
The intention that's more important than the attention.
Right.
It's always about the goal, not the whole.
100%. So I definitely agree. So that was the question I wanted to ask, right? Because Singapore still, Muslims only a small percentage, right? 15% ish. But when you go on your rounds, nobody ever say, "Hey, why do you keep raising this issue?"
Oh, okay. So actually, there are minority actually say that, look, we have more important thing to consider, of course, and that important thing have not been ignored.
Right,
So
exactly.
you see,
If you only brought this up, then that's a problem.
Yeah, so that's why you are there to represent a variety
Right.
of views, right? And then sometimes some things don't really comport with my own conviction, but I do need to raise it because it's a concern on the ground. So I agree that but it's who we are as a people, lah. You know, if you don't say something, by you doing nothing at all, that's indictment.
Absolutely. So there's a question: why are we assuming that they were being disruptive instead of asking why they were acting the way they were in the first place? Okay, so from the video, okay, it could, of course, it's edited, as in it's parts of it, but from the video, I think there were some things that, just even the way that the conversation started with Min Shan, right? I already felt there's a difference between asking a tough question and I think being impolite or rude, right? And I think Singaporeans don't take being rude well, as in to others being rude well.
We're not
Even when you have a point, right? When you're rude, I think you lose the argument sort of. So that's what I would say, right? Do you have any comment on that? Or?
I actually I can't tell also from the video, but what I feel is that if there's from what I've seen, there has been an offer to talk to them. So just take the offer
at the start,
at the start,
and then,
which is what happened at my MPS also. So everybody gets a fair time. Then you get to present, and then it's fine. Because if you're the resident, then you take a queue number as well.
Yeah.
But if you're non-resident, I suppose I do not know how they run it in Chong Pang, but they said they prioritize the residents first. So it's not. I mean, being there takes a lot of courage. But I think they were maybe overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I don't say that what they did wasn't brave. It was very brave, right? To do that, especially with Min Shan, that's very brave. But that doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's brave doesn't mean it's right. That's what I would say. I know people have been DMing me this whole morning, wow. So they've been disagreeing with me, and that's fine. We can disagree. But I think it's very important for us that the purpose of the activism is to win hearts and minds. And in our actions, we think whether we are winning the hearts and minds outside our own bubbles. That's
like I said, it's not the loudness of your voice that matters. You're firm in your conviction, your consistency in your action. Do it. I think you will change things.
Okay. So what about those who say, young people are hurting a lot now. They have a lot of hurt and despair, and there are just not enough avenues for.
Okay, so avenues, when you say avenues within the ambits of the law, right? I think there can be avenues if you can. I think, for example, let's say innovative ways. Singapore Palestinian Film Fest. I supported that. I brought in artwork. We auctioned it off.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. You get a soft. You get the activism. You get awareness. And the monologues as well.
Which you attended.
And I thought there are ways to do it. And if you want, so you must ask yourself, are you doing this for the cause or for the applause? Are you doing, what's your intention? So if you are just saying, look at me, I'm doing this, then in fact, even for parliamentarians, right? So you got to ask them, what are you doing? Wayang or not? So what more so for every Singaporean? So I think it's valid. You feel that way, but let's think about ways of making. I'm a half full kind of guy, glass half full kind of guy. Say, what can we do better? What can we allow for more engagements? Let's say. Tudung issue. So back then it was not yet normalized or allowed in not in the healthcare. I spoke about it and gathered some people in AMP to talk about it, and then we drill down to the numbers. You see, then we talk about the 50% economically inactive, how many of them are healthcare workers that could have actually contributed to the Singapore economy. So it is not just a religious issue. Yes, it is important, but it is also important for our healthcare, for our needs, and our people that we are trying to save. So if you're dissuading this group of people from who are actually skilled, and then you're losing them out to Australia, New Zealand, so these are ways you can. I mean, it's litigator, I have to find a way to argue it.
So I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think I agree with you, but a young person is less patient. Right? A young person wants to see, and that's, I mean, we were 20 years ago the same as well, so for young people and for them, what they see this time around, the gravity of it is just immense. This hurt that they are seeing, right? So I've already said what I wanted to say about yesterday. So this is about the shoe protest, which I understand it's police are investigating. It could be illegal, so I don't know. I'll leave that to the police, but I understand that it comes from a place of hurt and despair. So I hope the government can be lenient to such incidents. Where that one is not disruptive, not being rude.
So we talk about Anwar Ibrahim just now, how I got into law school.
We did talk about Anwar. Yes.
He was in prison, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Where is he now?
He was. Yeah.
So actually, I think leniency and also second chances are there.
Okay.
I really hope so. I mean,
that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
I think we were young ones, and I surely hope that youth cannot be wasted on the young. And it's not just the young that actually can do the change. It's actually all of us. So if we can, we can't stereotype that it's only the youth that actually do this. We can actually get our professionals, thinking about their families, thinking about what they want for Singapore.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So I think that's it on Palestine I have. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free. The budget, right? So the budget, it seems like it was giving out a lot of money to Singaporeans, and does this go against the old mindset of the PAP, where it's okay. Does it go against the old mindset? This is live. Live shouldn't be your question. They had nothing to do with our discussion. So, is it against the old mindset of every Singaporean must take care? We don't want to give and out. So, is this a decisive shift away from that old PAP?
I don't think so. I mean, you look at the numbers. You can't say just because of a $800 voucher is a Singaporeans are not bought cheaply for that. This is not the price. So it's actually a sharing of, if you think about it, sharing of the success of the surplus, and also to cushion the impact of the external factors of cost of living. I still believe that the co-payment system or skin in the game is still there. And that's why we have Medisave. That's why you have a limit as to how much. And of course, we MPs have been pushing for greater drawdown.
Yes, for Medisave especially.
So then the limit has been increased. But why have a limit in the first place? It's because of the principle that we hold true that in order to have a country of Singaporeans who really have a stake in it, then you need to have, I believe that you need to have this system where everyone feels something. I give you, for example, I have my number known to all my children. It's a WhatsApp number. It's 83054328. 83054328.
Are you sure you want to?
So okay, all
no need to go to his MPS already. You can.
So that's what happened. So they send me text and they email, and then and I will reply. But when it gets complex, I will say that always come, because if you meet me halfway, then I can meet you all the way. And then if you, it's not about, it's actually having you owning the problem as well. And I can explain to you So when it comes to messages, I say that okay, I think this is getting a bit more complex. Do come, and it's not as if I suka want people to line up or what, but actually you then in the whole process you see other folks who may have other problems that actually are much greater than yours, and then they are also needs, and then so it gives us as Singaporeans a sense of like if I need to pay, I have to pay, but everybody else is paying as well, and that's what it is. That we are not socialists, very welfare state, but
No, we are moving there, right? Slowly.
we have the needs call for it.
Right.
The needs call for it.
So it's not an ideological shift.
I
It's
don't
just
think
a
so. I
okay.
don't think so. And I think that we are the way we form policies has always been to grow the pie, because to grow the pie for everybody. The MOM fellas will always tell you the best form of welfare is workfare or something like that. But it's true. I think you need to have give the man the rod to fish. Yeah. I believe in that.
Okay. So
Please don't send me good morning messages. I have like salam subuh, good morning messages. Today got Good Friday morning.
but you have two numbers, or is that your only one number?
That's two number. So it goes to the same phone.
Okay.
Yeah. You see.
So you get,
There.
oh wow.
So I will have compliments, a follow up. Yeah. So thank you.
So by the way, all the numbers are not same numbers. So all those are residents basically. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, the GRCs, right? The GRCs, which I think is something that is necessary. I personally think. I think the GRCs they don't need to be big. They can just be 2%, maximum 3%. But the concept, I think, is something I am in favor of. But do you think that what people have written, people have said that the GRCs actually result in tokenism, the minorities being seen as, you're there because, and then you have to prove yourself harder in your term, especially your first term.
Actually, whether it's tokenism or not, it depends on the candidate, right? And to your first few statements, I agree with you of the commitment to reduce the number of men. When I say men/women, and I'm pretty glad that my GRC is for men. I think Masang UT is also still a foreman. So can you imagine the PM is a foreman GRC, and the DPM is a foreman GRC as well. What does it show? That they believe in more closer, maybe electorate MP ratio, but it also means that the slate that we are going to put up will be the best to serve that. Now it's 96,000 voters in Choa Chu Kang, and the
smaller it is, the more careful you have to choose, basically, right? That's what you say.
So I say, whether it's tokenism, it can be a reverse tokenism as well. People are saying that why must it always be a Malay MP? Why can't it be a Chinese MP? Because don't forget, you got your GRC, but then within the GRC itself, they have divisions. And then maybe Pritam will go here, Jerome will go here, or DPM will go here, I will go here. So that part, let's say Kiat Hong, has always had a Malay MP, Khalid, Zaki Muhammad, and myself. So I tell you one particular house visit, this uncle said to me, I don't want to sound racist, but in my mind, but brace yourself anyway. Yeah? So he says, why must it always be a Malay MP here? He can understand that. So I said that, okay, the demographic there is a high concentration of Malays in this, higher than national average, but it doesn't mean that I am a lesser effective voice than others. And I think he got that after 2 years. After that, I went to his house again, and then he said to me, seen it on the ground. He forgot that remark that he made to me, but he said that So I don't. I think the allegation of tokenism is. I hear two things: riding on the coattails,
right.
Tokenism, but more people are feeling the riding on the coattails because you have the big guns.
Yeah.
What's your street cred?
Yeah.
What have you done for Singapore? Who is this fella? So you got to prove yourself in that way. In any event, even if you have done all that, your past doesn't determine your future.
Yeah.
Predisposition doesn't mean predetermination, right? So you got to prove yourself either way, whether you are the minority or majority candidate. So I think it's a false.
You don't think it's harder for new minority candidates than it is for new Chinese candidates?
I think it's easier.
Really?
Because the spotlight is always on us. If I speak,
you get more airtime.
I get
right.
And I, with a funny sounding name, and then I have to come up with my Chinese name as well, so that people can pronounce Zhulkarnain. 你可以叫我小舅. So they call me 小舅, right? So Zhulkarnain. So sounds very. Are you Chinese? So no, but it's so that you can easier pronounce my name. So relate and I say that don't. So the other thing that they will ask is, are you a part-time MP? You tell me. How many full-time MPs are there in Parliament, right? So I tell them, actually, you message me anytime. WhatsApp also I give and all that. So I'm I won't say I'm anytime, every time, all the time MP, right? So you can get, and that's what we want. I think the residents, my constituents.
It's a good election slogan,
So my promise to my first rally, right? There was an e-rally. I said I'm not going to just do an MPS, meet the people session. I will do a GPS, go to the people session. So then that's why I gave my number, and I think one of my residents go and buy a 4D, then they walk. But it gives me like what you said, the pulse of the community on the ground. I come from a corporate background, and my I run like 7 lawyers under me and all that. My structure is quite flat. You can come to my office anytime and we argue in the room, we argue in court. But at the end of the day, we are on the same team. So whether it's good, whether it's bad feedback, I want your feedback. I want your input. Whether they will say I vote for you, but actually even if you don't vote for me, actually I won't know, right?
Yeah. You don't know.
Even if you don't vote, you vote. I will still represent you because that's my oath.
Are you excited about that physical rallies coming back?
I am.
You didn't get that.
I am. So my office is in UB Plaza. So my last rally that I had was the 2015. Remember SDP? And
Chisun Juan's one.
Fullerton.
I remember the long queue.
Long queue.
And then PM also went.
PM also went. So it was and it was lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
And back then I'm semi-interested in this. I thought that, okay, this is actually quite a rapport that you have.
Yeah.
PM, SDP had it. I think those were the only 2 Fullerton rallies at that time. And for the people not to have rally, I think they are missing a part of the hustle.
Yeah, I agree. 2020, the campaign was a bit lame, right? Compared to 2015, 2011, right? I mean, it was wild, right? Okay. So, I've heard on the grapevine that you'll be promoted to a POH.
Wow, I don't know.
I heard. I don't know whether this is fake news or not. I don't know whether I'll get 4th month for this from MHA or PMO gonna 4th month me, but
you got to ask the PM.
I know. Okay. Let's say if he said he went to you, right? He says, so you can choose one ministry, right? Wow. Let's say he says that. Which one would you choose?
Wow, okay. So actually, to be honest, I'm really enjoying my time as a backbencher. And
this
actually,
is such a politically correct.
So, because I can control the questions, I cannot control the answer.
Right.
So, I feel that actually for any politicians, right, if they really want to be, and I don't know whether you agree with me, they must aim for the highest office.
I agree, 100%.
They must.
100%.
If you're in it, you must.
Thank you for saying this. My respect for you went up even higher, because if not, why are you in it?
Why are you in it?
Honestly.
So if I So if PM, I don't know, but it's not. It's not about the ambition.
Yeah,
It's actually
you should be okay with not having it, but you should want it. I think that's the way, right? Yeah.
not about wanting it. What I see is you got to be prepared to take it if the situation calls for it. I have always been in positions that I never asked for it, for the position of leadership, and I've been trusted upon it. So, and if I hadn't prepared myself for that, then how would
You're in trouble. People under you are in trouble.
I do it in my law firm as well. Right? In the court case, you start with being the associate, and now I'm a senior partner. So I'm the first chair. When I was the second chair, assisting counsel, I have to be prepared to take over first chair anytime, anytime.
Right.
And that must be the mindset of every minister.
So you are prepared to be Minister of Muslim Affairs?
Oh no. So it's
we are preparing, we are preparing. That's why
I'm not saying that. I am saying that it must be in the right spirit.
Right.
That someone who wants to take office must be prepared to take over the highest office of the land, and because if the situation calls for it, you got to be prepared to take that next step. Yeah. So I feel, to me, really, I'm enjoying it's the honest truth because I get to, nobody drafts my questions, nobody drafts my speeches, nobody vets them. I do it myself. I have a legislative assistant, but they just give me pointers because
any minister ever like scolded you? Hey Zul, why did you say that?
No. They got talk to me. They got talk to me. So, but I feel actually the ministers that I have, I think are quite cool. So I handle all the non-sexy GPCs, right? Home Affairs and Law, I'm chairman. Foreign Affairs and Defense, which gives me a full insight as to the workings of the front-facing of the part of the world from Singapore's perspective. And when I went to, let's say, just give an example, I went to Middle East last year with Minister Vivian and Gerald Giam, Nadia, I think Alex Yam and Rachel as well. I think we were there as Team Singapore. And understood quite well.
I appreciated the fact that Vivian and the government brought Gerald Giam as well. I think that was a good show of unity. I think it's actually underplayed in the media. Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was downplayed in the media. I thought that was a good move. That precisely you said Team Singapore. But you haven't answered which ministry. So
no. So this is the thing that I cannot answer because my answer is that I have to be prepared for anything. Then I should be prepared for anything.
Okay. Oh, that's an excellent answer. Okay, so final question. I want to end on a conciliatory note. Right? Who is your favorite opposition personality?
Okay. Opposition.
You can tell me one PAP, one favorite colleague, and one favorite opposition. For whatever reason.
Colleague. Okay, favorite colleague, current, my batch, I would say Mariam Jaafar.
Okay.
Yeah. Smart lady, incisive, give good speeches, really has the heart for the community. Liverpool fan as well. Please sell on Alexander Isak to us from Newcastle. But really, got gumption. Yeah. From the previous batches, I enjoy. It's a toss up between. Okay, of course, I put PM and SM all because they are stellar.
Yeah.
I like to hear Dr. Eng Hin, his delivery of speeches, and the way, because I come from a time where parliamentary debates were not televised, right? So all you have is old clips of LKY, JBJ. So I was thinking maybe this was how the oratorical power is there, and as a lawyer, I appreciate that. I think SMTO as well. Wow, very good. Opposition, I like Gerald. Only because I traveled with him. But also because he asks good questions, and I think
he's a good chap. Someone described me as this lady described me. He's the person you would bring to tell your parents that he's your boyfriend. He gives that, he gives that vibe, right? Like just a good check.
I don't necessarily agree with everything he says,
Of course.
but I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that he, on the front foot, and then of course I always lose when I put up my hand, and he will get
And
first
he
lah.
first.
Yeah, but yeah, I
Okay.
think that,
Thank you so much, Mr. Zul. I wish you all the best
Yeah,
in
but-
your political office holder.
No. I'm not sure.
Whatever happens,
if I'm
if it
whether
happens.
in fact people will vote me in, but which is why I agreed to this, because this might be my last chance. Then next time you say you
Former, is it? Former.
PMP, previous MP.
I'm sure you will.
But I have something for you.
Oh, okay, yes.
I know you are involved in educational initiative for Palestinian students. Before my time in politics, I was with AMP and we met several Palestinians. In fact, when I was there also, I met the UNRWA people, UNICEF, and I met a school there as well. I thought that it's very important that you raise funds and you help.
Yeah.
I got something.
Oh,
This actually I
this is a surprise.
bought it about maybe 3 years ago. Three years ago. This is a herbawi. It's the only kufia manufacturer in Palestine. They don't have it anymore.
Really? Wow.
And,
Oh,
and this, you can do
Wow.
as what you want with it. You can auction it off. It's not being used. In
I
fact,
can auction it off. I can
you can
keep it for
you can
myself.
keep it for yourself. Okay, but not keep it for yourself. I don't want
I'll
you to
auction
do
it. I'll auction it.
Okay, auction it.
I'll auction it. Thank you
There's
so much.
a-
Okay,
a
okay.
story behind it.
Yeah.
I tried to purchase it again, but
Right.
it's quite difficult to get supply line.
By the way, something I haven't actually revealed, but I might as well. So, Mr. Zo also donated some calendars that that we are going to do something with it at the end of this month for our fundraising. Yeah. So,
Those
thank you so
calendars
much.
are the Birds of Palestine.
Yes.
Oh, I also gave to the ladies who attended the same calendar.
Really?
Because it was sitting in my office. Because
Okay.
I told them, hey, there are also the flora and fauna, also the biodiversity, recording it is actually
Right.
important part of the heritage.
Indeed.
I thought important. And when I spoke to some of the Palestinians there, they said that there's not much of what we have here, social mixing. And in fact, can you imagine their Arab quarters don't have full mixing with others. And I've spoke to one member in the Knesset as well that the first time they ever met a Palestinian Arab or Palestinian Christian was when they became MP.
Wow.
So I think we have a different thing here.
Yeah.
We have ethnic groups mixing. We have happy sharing of festivities. When I asked them, what do you want for us to do? They said that. So they said to me, do your best in what you do. Don't worry about us. Well, that really touched me because when I was there, I tried to book a puasa. I can show you the photos. I tried to book a puasa. We were in the car, and they said that no, park in my house. I said, oh, but this is your house. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. You can park here. You can go to that shop. That shop is good. That shop is good. I went to those shops. Those are family shops. So you go down to the human level. They are no different from you and I if you get to know
100%.
them.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zul. Thank you
inshallah.
for everything that you do in Parliament
Yeah.
and for today as well. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Bye bye.